Okay, did we really just see that? It may be hard to top, but there are a lot of awesome moments in this episode, and we're going to talk about all of them. Be forewarned, no spoiler will be left behind, so take a deep breath and let's go looking for trouble. So this week provided another episode that had little comic inspiration, but one scene may have looked a bit familiar to comic fans. On paper, our crew takes a sweet road trip to Hilltop, and when they stop for the night, Rick decides he wants to do a little sentimental stargazing when a rope slips around his neck and yanks him from atop the van. The Alexandrians wake up and are surrounded by Negan's gang, the Saviors, and are brought to their knees. On the show, we find several stray characters nabbed in the forest when hunting Dwight and pals, and forced to their knees as the episode-ending huge scene that involves giving Daryl a sweet new scar. This scene had us like,
oh no.
This scene in both the comic and TV series leads to our big prediction for next week's finale episode. We expect our characters to be dragged before the gates of Alexandria. We'll see a desperate Glenn, Rosita, Michonne, and an incapacitated Daryl as Dwight is screaming for the gates to be opened and the Saviors to be let in by the orders of Negan. Carol and Morgan will be out wandering the countryside, and Rick will be left without some of his most trusted officers. About 2/3 of the way through the episode, a situation will probably arise that brings Maggie and Rick outside the walls of Alexandria, and from the shadows will emerge a large, charismatic, foul-mouthed man named Negan. He'll likely wear a leather jacket and carry a wooden baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire that he refers to as his girlfriend, Lucille. He'll explain that he needs to set a standard, that a cost must be paid for Rick and the Alexandrians' actions. So here is where the hammer falls. In the comics, Negan plays eeny, meeny, miny, moe to determine who will bear the cost. As the limerick comes to an end, his gaze falls on Glenn, whom he drags before the group and beats to death. How terrifyingly gruesome this scene was, as Glenn screams his pregnant wife's name as he is bludgeoned. That said, we're going with our guts and predicting that a different character may be taking Glenn's place on screen. After much deliberation and consideration for his developing career, we predict that at least Daryl will die. A case can be made for several other characters such as Carol, Morgan, and even the original Glenn. And while that may be a possibility, we predict that Daryl is a home run guess. Things are going to get both graphic and visceral in the season finale, and we'll be here to get you through your loss with our comic comparison next week, as well as a season recap, so be assured that we've got you covered for all things Walking Dead right here on IGN.